The door didn't just open. It exploded inward, the cheap wood frame splintering like brittle bone under the force of a size 13 boot. I was mid-stride, buck-ass naked, my skin still humming from the nightmare that had ripped me from sleep, heart slamming against my ribs like a caged animal desperate to flee. And there he was, broad shoulders filling the doorway, badge catching the erratic flicker of my bedside lamp, his eyes, storm gray and unreadable, locking onto me not with fury, but something sharper, something that sliced right through the humid July air of my Brooklyn walk-up. "Fuck," he muttered, the word half-swallowed, his hand freezing on the butt of his holstered Glock as if the gun might burn him. You're not the intruder." Jesus Christ, I didn't cover up. Couldn't. My arms hung limp at my sides, the vulnerability crashing over me like a rogue wave, leaving me exposed in every goddamn sense, body, soul, the whole shattered mess I'd been hauling around since Dad's funeral 2 weeks back. "Intruder," I choked out, voice raw from the scream that must have woken half the block. "This is my place." "Who the hell are you?" He was all cop. Buzzed dark hair, jaw like chiseled granite, the kind of build that said he bench-pressed patrol cars for fun. But up close, in the spill of yellow light, I saw the cracks, the faint scar hooking his left eyebrow, the way his free hand clenched into a fist. Not at me, but at whatever ghost had dragged him here at 2 a.m. "Officer Hunter Reyes," he said, finally holstering the sidearm with a deliberate slowness, like he was giving himself time to unsee me. "Noise complaint. Neighbor said it sounded like someone was getting murdered in here." His gaze flicked down, just for a beat, then snapped back to my face, a flush creeping up his neck that had nothing to do with the summer heat. That flush. It was the first hook in my gut, pulling me toward him even as my brain screamed to bolt, to grab a sheet, to pretend this wasn't the most mortifying, electric moment of my sorry existence. But I didn't move. Neither did he. And in that suspended breath, with sirens wailing faint in the distance like the city's own fucked-up heartbeat, everything tilted. The air thickened, charged, like the storm clouds we'd been dodging all week had finally broken inside my shitty apartment. I don't remember who spoke first, or if we did at all. Maybe it was the way he stepped inside, kicking the door shut behind him with a soft thud that echoed like a promise. He didn't call for backup, didn't radio in the all-clear. Just stood there, filling the space, his chest rising and falling in rhythm with mine. "You okay?" he asked finally, voice dropping low, rough around the edges like he'd smoked one too many on a long shift. It wasn't cop protocol. It was human, stripped bare, and it hit me harder than any punch. "Yeah," I lied, finally snagging a towel from the floor and wrapping it loose around my hips, the terry cloth rough against skin that suddenly felt too alive. "Nightmare. Bad one. Sorry for the drama." I forced a laugh, but it came out brittle, like glass underfoot. "My name's Alex Harlan, 27, graphic designer by day, insomniac mess by night, ever since the Big Apple chewed up my old man and spat out a coffin. We'd moved here from some podunk Ohio town when I was a kid, chasing the dream, but all we'd ever caught was debt and disappointment. Now he was gone, and I was rattling around in his old place, ghosts in every corner." Hunter nodded, like he got it, like he'd chased enough shadows in his own head to recognize the real ones. "Happens to the best of us." He glanced around the room, pizza boxes stacked like Jenga towers, Sketches pinned to the walls of half-formed album covers for indie bands that'd never pay the rent. You live alone? Story of my life. The words slipped out, laced with that self-deprecating bite New Yorkers wear like armor. But his eyes softened, just a fraction, and he leaned against the doorframe, arms crossing over that broad chest, the fabric of his uniform straining in a way that made my pulse stutter. "I'm off in 10, he said, casual as if we were grabbing beers at a dive bar, not strangers in the wreckage of my privacy. There's a 24-hour diner down the block. McSweeney's. Best greasy spoon in bed, Stewie. You look like you could use a coffee. Or something stronger." I blinked, towel slipping a dangerous inch. Was this a pickup? A pity play? Or just a cop killing time before the graveyard shift ended? "You always invite naked guys to diners after kicking in their doors? Only the ones who scream like banshees." A grin cracked his face, crooked and boyish, disarming as hell. "Come on, Harlan. My treat. Consider it restitution for the splinter in your ego." I should have said no. Should have told him to fuck off and bolt the door twice over. But there was something in his eyes. Hunger, maybe, or the same hollow ache I'd seen in my own reflection since the funeral. So I threw on jeans and a faded Mets tee, the towel hitting the floor like a gauntlet thrown, and followed him out into the muggy night. The city thrummed around us, bass from a passing lowrider, laughter spilling from a stoop party, the distant wail of an ambulance chasing someone else's emergency. McSweeney's was a relic, Formica counters scarred from decades of heartbroken confessions, the air thick with bacon grease and regret. We slid into a booth by the window, vinyl cracking under our weight, and Hunter ordered black coffee for both of us. No sugar, like he knew I'd take it bitter. "So," he said, stirring absently, "what's got you howling at the moon? Job? The Mets blowing another lead." I snorted, the sound easing something tight in my chest. "Dad. Pancreatic cancer. Hit like a freight train. 2 weeks ago." He was bitching about the Knicks. Now I'm sorting his vinyl collection alone. The words tumbled out, unfiltered, the kind of truth you don't drop on first dates or whatever this was. But Hunter didn't flinch. He just listened, those gray eyes steady, like he'd anchored 1,000 drunks through their sob stories. "Lost my brother to the same shit 5 years back," he said quietly, tracing the rim of his mug. "Afghanistan took him first, IED, but the cancer? That was the encore. Fucker doesn't play fair." His voice cracked, just once, and in that fracture, I saw him. Not the badge, not the bulk, but the man who'd probably stared down barrels and bar fights, only to fold like paper when the real bullets hit home. We talked till the sky bruised purple, trading war stories over refills that went cold. He was 32, born in the Bronx to a Puerto Rican mom and a cop dad who'd eaten his gun after one too many bad calls. Hunter followed the family trade, but the streets had carved him jagged, tattoos snaking up his arms, a limp from a knee blown out chasing a dealer through Alphabet City. Me, I spilled about the ex, Jamie, who'd bailed 6 months in, calling me too sensitive for his Wall Street grind. "Like emotions are a fucking allergy," I muttered, and Hunter's laugh rumbled low, warming the booth like a hearth. By dawn, the diner's neon buzzed to life, and he walked me back, our shoulders brushing in the narrow stairwell. At my door, still hanging crooked on its hinges, he paused, hand lingering on the knob. "This doesn't have to be a one-off, Alex. If you want." My breath caught, the air between us crackling like live wire. I leaned in, testing, and his mouth met mine, firm, urgent, tasting of coffee and unspoken grief. It wasn't fireworks. It was a dam breaking, all the pent-up storm we'd both been carrying. His hands framed my face, thumbs rough against my jaw, and for the first time since the hospital lights had dimmed on Dad, I felt seen. Whole. That kiss lingered in my bones as he pulled back, eyes dark with promise. "Fix that lock," he murmured, smirking. "Or don't." Gives me an excuse to come back. He vanished down the stairs, leaving me breathless, the city waking to another scorcher. I didn't know it then, but that splintered door was just the first crack. Hunter Reyes wasn't a rescue. He was a hurricane, and I was already caught in the eye. File 1 END, word count, 1002. The days blurred after that. Hunter slipping into my life like he'd always been there, a shadow that chased away the dark. We'd meet after his shifts, him in civvies, faded Levi's hugging thighs that could pin a suspect or pull me close with equal ease. Our first real date was at Coney Island, the cyclone's screams drowning out the awkward silences. His hand steady on the small of my back as we queued for Nathan's hot dogs slathered in mustard that dripped like lazy tears. "Your trouble, Harlan," he'd say, licking salt from his fingers, that crooked grin making my stomach flip. But there was depth to him, layers peeled back over stolen hours. He'd talk about his beat in Bushwick, the kids tagging murals that hid drive-bys, the old ladies who'd slip him tamales wrapped in foil like contraband love. "It's not glory," he'd admit, staring out at the Atlantic's indifferent churn. "But it's home. Messy as fuck. But mine." I'd nod, sketching him on napkins, the way his brow furrowed when he laughed, the scar that begged to be traced. My own world felt smaller then, deadlines blurring as I lost nights to his texts. "Miss your voice. Call? Or patrol's slow? Thinking of that tattoo on your rib. A phoenix, inked after Dad's diagnosis, rising from ashes I wasn't sure I'd earned. We were fire and fuel, burning bright in the underbelly of Brooklyn, where dreams went to hustle or die. But Luke crashed in like a blackout, my oldest friend from design school, the one who'd held my hand through Jamie's ghosting and Dad's chemo runs. He showed up unannounced one sticky August evening, six-pack of IPA in hand, his lanky frame filling my doorway with that perpetual smirk. "Heard you got a cop boyfriend," he drawled, flopping onto the couch, blonde curls flopping wild. "Spill, bitch. Is he hung like his nightstick?" I laughed, shoving him playfully, but heat crept up my neck. Luke was chaos incarnate, bartender at some hipster speakeasy in Williamsburg, always chasing highs and hookups, the kind of gay that wore glitter like war paint. We'd hooked up once, freshman year, sloppy and experimental, but it fizzled into the easy rhythm of brothers in arms. "Hunter's not a story," I said, cracking a beer. "He's real." Luke's eyes narrowed, playful glint sharpening. "Real? Honey, nothing's real till it breaks you." He didn't push, but his words lodged like a splinter, and when Hunter arrived 20 minutes later, bearing takeout from that hole-in-the-wall pupuseria on Knickerbocker, Luke sized him up like a rival appraiser. "Luke," Hunter said, extending a hand, his grip firm but the smile easy. They circled each other over Low Main, Luke firing barbs about badges and bromance, Hunter parrying with tales of busting frat boys at Pride after-parties. By midnight, the tension thawed, Luke belting show tunes off-key, Hunter drumming beats on the coffee table, me sandwiched between, buzzed on beer and belonging. That's when it felt dangerous, this thing blooming between us. Not the sex god, that was revelation. His body mapping mine in the tangle of sheets, calloused palms learning every dip and scar, whispers turning to moans that echoed off the brick walls. No, the danger was the quiet after, when he'd trace lazy circles on my chest and murmur about futures. Ever think about getting out? He'd ask, voice muffled against my shoulder. Somewhere quieter. Mountains, maybe. Wyoming's got space to breathe. Chuckle, kissing his temple. And leave this glamour? Nah. Brooklyn's in my blood. But his words stirred something restless. A what if that dad had drilled into me. Chase the horizon, kid. City's just a cage with better lighting. Luke saw it first. The fault lines. A week later, over brunch at that vegan spot on Bedford, avocado toast piled like green mountains, he cornered me. He's holding back. Alex. I see it. The way he checks his phone every 5 minutes. Like he's waiting for the other shoe to drop. Luke's fork stabbed a chickpea. Emphatic. Cops like that? They've got closets deeper than the Hudson. He's out. I snapped. Defensive heat flaring. To his precinct. His mom. Said so himself. Luke leaned in. Eyes soft with that big brother pity. Out to who matters. Then, or just the ones who won't run. He didn't elaborate. But the seed took root. Watered by the little things. Hunter's vague shifts. The burner phone he kept face down. The way he'd tense at mentions of his ex-partner, not romantic. He'd clarified. But a beat cop named Reyes who didn't get the job. I shoved it down. Buried it under stolen weekends. Labor Day hit. And we escaped to Fire Island. Hunter's idea. A ferry ride across choppy waves. The Pines Dunes whispering secrets to anyone who listened. We rented a share house with a gaggle of his precinct buddies. All rough-edge charm and inside jokes about rookies eating donuts. It was paradise. Bonfires on the beach. His laughter mingling with the crash of surf. Our bodies slick with salt and sweat under a canopy of stars. That night, as embers died to glow, he pulled me aside, sand gritting between our toes. I love this, he said, voice raw, the word love hanging heavy as the humidity. You. Feels like I can finally. He trailed off, jaw tightening, and I waited, heart in my throat. Finally what? Pressed, fingers lacing his. Breathe. He kissed me then, deep and devouring, the ocean roaring approval. But as we stumbled back to the house, arms linked, I caught a shadow in the tree line, Luke, who'd crashed the trip last minute, watching with a beer in hand, his expression unreadable. Like he knew the tide was turning. Back in the city, fall crept in with crisp edges, leaves turning gold like fool's currency. Hunter's shifts stretched longer. Overtime the excuse, but the calls came less frequent. Texts clipped, busy night. Talk soon. I'd pace the apartment, Dad's old jazz records spinning melancholy loops, wondering if I'd imagined the Pines' promise. Then the betrayal landed, not with a bang, but a whisper. It was a Thursday, rain sheeting the windows like tears held too long. I was at Luke's bar, nursing a whiskey sour, when my phone lit up, not Hunter, but an unknown number. A photo Hunter, arm slung around a woman in a precinct gala gown, her head on his shoulder, smiles wide for the flash. Caption: Reyes, you sly dog. When's the wedding? My gut hollowed, the room tilting. Luke found me there, slumped over the scarred oak, glass shattering in my fist. Shit, Alex. He pried the phone away, his face paling as he scrolled. This is from his partner's feed. Old pic. Maybe, but why is she tagged as future sis-in-law? I didn't answer, just grabbed my jacket and bolted into the downpour, hail mixing with the sob clawing my throat. The subway ride blurred, fluorescent hell, strangers' stares blurring into judgment. I ended up at Hunter's precinct, soaked to the bone, demanding to see him like some bad cop show cliché. They buzzed me in, pity in the desk sergeant's eyes. He's in briefing, kid. Wait here. But I didn't. I stormed the bullpen, voices hushing as I zeroed on him. Tie loose, sleeves rolled, laughing at some joke with her. The woman from the photo, Elena, petite firecracker with a donut in hand, her laugh bright as betrayal. Hunter, my voice cracked the air, head swiveling. He turned, color draining, eyes widening like that first night. Alex? What the? Who's she? I jabbed a finger, rain dripping from my hair, pooling accusatory at our feet. The room froze, a collective intake. He stepped forward, hands up like calming a spooked horse. Elena? My sister. Man. What the fuck is this? Sister. The word deflated me, but not enough. Then why the tags? Future family? And the calls? The distance. Realization dawned on his face, chased by fury. Someone's fucking with you. With us. He grabbed my arm, steering me to a side hall, Elena trailing with wide eyes. Listen. No. I yanked free, the fight draining into exhaustion. I can't keep waiting for the other boot. Hunter. Luke was right. You're half in, always checking shadows. His face crumpled, that granite jaw fracturing. I'm all in. For you. But the job. I choose trust like candy. Last month, I pulled a kid from an overdose. His dad was my CI. Now internal affairs is sniffing, thinking I leaked. That's the phone. The overtime. Not you. Never you. Elena chimed in, voice soft. He's telling truth. Alex. Hunter's been mooning over you since the door kick story. Said you were the first real thing since. She trailed off, glancing at him. Since Tomas, he finished, voice hollow. His brother, the ghost between beats. The one who'd known Hunter was gay before he did, who'd covered for him at family barbecues with winks and deflections. Cancer had stolen that shield, leaving Hunter armored in solitude. I sagged against the wall, the fight leaching out. I thought, I know. He closed the gap, forehead to mine, the precinct fading to static. I'm sorry. For the silence. For letting the job bleed into us. His breath ghosted my lips. A plea. Don't walk. Please. I didn't. Not then. We patched it with truths spilled in his truck. Parked under the Williamsburg Bridge, the East River churning black below. Elena's photo was a hack job, some precinct prankster with a grudge, twisting old tags for laughs. But Luke's warning lingered, a bruise that throbbed. Fall deepened, Thanksgiving looming like a family obligation neither wanted. Hunter's mom invited us to her Astoria walk-up, Eras con Gandal steaming. the table groaning under plantains and pernil. I met the clan, cousins ribbing Hunter about his mystery man, Tays pressing seconds with maternal force. It was chaos, warm and overwhelming, the kind of American dream stitched from immigrant grit. "You make him smile," his mom whispered, pressing a Tupperware of leftovers into my hands. "Like Tomas used to." Her eyes, mirrors of his, held no judgment, only gratitude. But Luke pulled me aside in the kitchen, beer foaming over his knuckles. "This is cute. Domestic bliss. But what's the end game? Alex, he gonna march in next Pride with a float? Or keep you as the dirty secret?" "He's not," I started, but Luke's laugh cut sharp. "Wake up. Cops don't do happy endings. They do blue walls and blue balls." He softened, clapping my shoulder. "Just protect your heart, yeah, before it gets cuffed." His words haunted me through the feast, through Hunter's hand under the table, squeezing like an anchor. That night, in the guest room of Hunter's childhood home, posters of Yankees greats peeling from the walls, we made love slow, reverent, his body a map of scars I memorized anew. "I love you," he breathed against my neck, the words a vow etched in sweat. "Love you too," I whispered back, meaning it fiercer than fear. Winter bit hard, snow blanketing Brooklyn in hush. We built a rhythm. Mornings tangled in my bed, him brewing diner coffee strong as his grip. Evenings at his precinct gym, spotting each other through deadlifts that left us boneless and bold. Luke thawed, grudgingly, joining us for Knicks games, heckling refs with Hunter like old allies. "Maybe you're not total bro pig," he'd concede, slinging an arm around us both. But the cracks widened, subtle as fault lines. Hunter's limp worsened, knee screaming after a foot chase through Red Hook. "Doc says surgery," he grumbled over takeout, ice pack blooming blue on his thigh. 6 weeks out. Desk duty. "Fuck that noise. Take it," I urged, massaging the knot. "We need you whole." He pulled me onto his lap. "Ice stormy. Need you more." But the job clung like tar, late nights turning to all-nighters, whispers of a promotion dangling like bait. "Lieutenant," he'd muse, "means stability. For us." The word swelled, pregnant with possibility. Valentine's loomed, and I planned big, rooftop reservation at that speakeasy Luke worked, skyline glittering like diamonds on velvet. But the night before, his phone shattered it, a call from IA. Tomas's ghost exhumed in depositions. "They think I covered for him," he explained later, hollowed out. "Back when he was using, before the war." Bullshit. But it sticks. I held him as he raged, fists pounding the mattress, tears hot on my chest. "It's the system," he snarled. "Eats its own. Then fight it," I said, fierce. "With me." He did, for a while. The holiday dawned gray, but we made it ours, chocolate-dipped strawberries in bed. His laughter rumbling as I smeared ganache on his abs, licking it clean with deliberate slowness. "Marry me," he joked, or half-joked, ring from a Cracker Jack box glinting absurd on his pinky. "Say when," I shot back, heart tripping. But Luke's bar that night turned prophecy. The speakeasy pulsed, jazz horns wailing over clinking glasses. Hunter arrived late, Tyascu, ice-shadowed. "Rough day," he muttered, kissing my cheek before downing a Scotch neat. We danced, bodies sinking in the haze, his hand low on my hip, possessive. Then Elena texted him, urgent, red alert. He stepped out, and minutes stretched to agony. Luke found me at the bar, nursing a gin. Told you, he said, voice low. Look, through the window, Hunter on the sidewalk, arguing with a suit IA badge flashing. Words lost to the din, but body language screamed, shoulders rigid, gestures chopping air. Then a slap, not from Hunter, but the agent, a file of photos spilling, Hunter and Tomas, young and close, too close for brothers in blue. My stomach plummeted. Luke's hand on my arm. Breathe, Alex. I didn't. I stormed out, rain-slick streets mirroring the slide. What the fuck? Hunter. He whirled, face ashen. It's nothing, old shit. Leverage. Leverage. The word tasted like ash. They outing you? For what? A dead man's sins. The agent smirked, gathering papers. Sign the waiver, Reyes. Or this goes public. Your career. Your family. Hunter's eyes met mine, pleading. Alex. I. Choose. I demanded, voice breaking. Us or the badge. Silence stretched, the city holding its breath. Then, quiet as snow, the job. It's all I. The slap echoed, my palm stinging, his cheek blooming red. I walked away, Luke's cab idling like salvation, the speakeasy's glow mocking in the rearview. Betrayal wasn't the photo, or the secret, it was the choice, the wall he'd rebuilt in an instant. Spring came cruel, cherry blossoms mocking the frost in my chest. I ghosted him, deleted the thread of texts that once lit my phone like stars. Luke moved in, temporary, his presence a buffer of bad movies and bottomless brunches. You're better off, he'd say, pouring cereal at midnight. Cops are heartbreak in uniform, but Hunter haunted. A knock unanswered, patrol car idling too long outside. Dad's records skipped on memories, Hunter humming Coltrane off-key, his head on my lap. I threw myself into work. Designs for a queer-lit mag that paid in exposure and existential dread. Pride approached, rainbow flags snapping like flags of surrender. The night of the march, I almost stayed home. Luke dragged me out, face paint slashing my cheeks in electric blue. For Dad, he said. He'd want you marching, not moping. The avenue throbbed, drag queens on stilts, dykes on bikes. The chant love is love, a heartbeat underfoot. I lost Luke in the crush, emerging near the Stonewall float, where history bled into now. And there, perched on a squad car, directing traffic, was Hunter. Uniform crisp, but eyes scanning desperate, landing on me like a lifeline. Our gazes locked, the crowd parting like biblical waters. He dismounted, weaving through, till we stood toe-to-toe, bass thumping our confessions unspoken. You came, he said, voice rough. Couldn't not, tears pricked, mixing with glitter sweat. I'm sorry, he rasped, hand hovering, then dropping. I chose wrong. Resigned yesterday. I can shove it. My breath hitched. And now, he stepped closer, the world narrowing to his heat. I choose you. If you'll have me. The kiss was chaos. Lips crashing, hands fisting shirts, cheers erupting like fireworks. Luke hooped from the sidelines, Elena snapping pics with a grin. It wasn't fixed. Not yet, the job's shadow long. Trust a fragile rebuild. But in that moment, under rainbow confetti and roaring joy, we were human, flawed, fierce, finally free. Summer circled back. The door fixed but hinges oiled for easy swings. Hunter bartended at Luke's spot, slinging drinks with that easy charm, his laugh drawing crowds. We talked Wyoming some nights, roots in Brooklyn others compromised the new rhythm. No rings yet, but plans, a road trip upstate, sketches of a life sketched in shared silences. Dad would have approved, I think, 2 strays finding harbor in the storm. And as Hunter's hand found mine across the diner booth, coffee steaming between, I knew the naked truth of us wasn't vulnerability. It was power. The kind that changed everything. Forever. No. Wait, that wasn't the end. Not by a long shot. The kiss on pride's chaotic artery was a spark. Not the fire. It ignited, but embers needed tending, and ours smoldered with complications that summer couldn't sweat out. Hunter's resignation hit the fan like confetti at a funeral. His precinct threw a retirement bash at a karaoke dive in Bay Ridge, badges clinking to toasts that tasted of goodbye. To Reyes, the captain slurred, arm heavy on Hunter's shoulder. The best damn beat cop we ever lost to a pretty face. Laughter rippled, but Hunter's jaw ticked, his hand squeezing mine under the table like a vice. Elena pulled me aside mid-song, Hunter butchering my way, with a gravelly croon that had the room hollering. He's wrecked. Alex, she murmured, her gallipoise traded for a sister's worry, nails bitten to stubs. Loved that badge more than he admits. Like it was armor for Tomas's ghost. She glanced at him, spotlit and swaying, eyes finding mine across the haze. Don't let him drown in it. I nodded, throat tight, but doubt gnawed. That night, back in my walk-up, his duffel finally unpacked in the corner. We fucked like atonement, bodies slamming apologies neither voiced. Afterward, tangled in sheets damp as regret, he traced my phoenix tattoo, fingers lingering on the flames. What if I can't hack civilian? He whispered, voice small in the dark. What if I'm just broken badge? You're not, I said, fierce, kissing the scar on his brow. You're Hunter. My hurricane, but sleep evaded, his breaths uneven, the city's hum mocking our fragile peace. Luke, ever the harbinger, called bullshit over coffee the next week. We'd claimed a corner at his speakeasy before opening. Jazz vinyl spinning low, the bar top scarred from 1,000 heartaches. Resigned? Bullshit, he scoffed, frothing a latte with aggressive pumps. He's suspended. Tops. Cops don't quit. They circle the wagons. His eyes, sharp as his pour, pinned me. And you? Playing house with a rebound uniform. He's out, I defended, stirring sugar I didn't need. For real this time, Luke slid the mug over, foam heart wobbling. Out till the next blue wall crumbles. Mark my words, he softened, leaning on the oak. Just don't lose yourself in his redemption arc. Yeah, you've got your own story. His warning echoed as August baked the asphalt, mirages dancing on Flatbush. Hunter threw himself into job hunts, security gigs that chafed, consulting for a PI firm that smelled of dead ends. Feels like starting over, he'd gripe, tie discarded on the couch, beer sweating in his fist. We'd walk the promenade at dusk, Manhattan's skyline a jagged promise, his limp more pronounced on uneven pavement. One evening, as ferries horned their way to Staten Island, he stopped, hands in pockets, gaze on the water. Tomas wanted this, he said, unprompted. A life beyond the grind. Girlfriend in Kabul, kid on the way, he wrote me about it. Before the blast. His voice cracked, wind whipping the words away. Said, don't wait for the bomb. Hermano. Build the boom. I slipped my arm around his waist, feeling the tension coil. Then build with me. He turned, ice fierce, pulling me into a kiss that tasted of salt and second chances. Deal, but the doubt lingered, a third wheel in our bed. Fall unfurled crimson, leaves carpeting the parks like shed inhibitions. We hosted game night, Elena and her wife, Sophia, bringing empanadas that scorched the tongue. Luke with his latest fling, a tattooed musician named Jax who drummed on every surface. Laughter filled the apartment, Mario Kart controllers flying, Hunter's competitive snarl melting into grins when I lapped him. But midway through, his phone buzzed, captain's number, insistent. He stepped onto the fire escape, voice low, the rusted metal groaning under his weight. I caught fragments, clearance. Bullshit. Need you back. Luke's eyes met mine across the room, arched brow screaming told you. He returned flushed, forcing cheer. Old case. Loose ends, but the air shifted, charged with unspoken pull. The betrayal brewed slow, pot left too long on simmer. It boiled over in October, World Series fever gripping the city like a fever dream. The Mets were choking again, but we didn't care, curled on the couch. Hunter's head in my lap, fingers toying with his buzz as the TV flickered playoff ghosts. Then the knock, sharp, authoritative, splintering the bubble. 2 suits at the door. Badges gleaming cold. Officer Reyes? Need a word. They glanced at me, dismissive, but Hunter's face drained, rising like a man to the gallows. Alex, stay here. His voice brooked no argument, but I followed anyway, hovering in the hall as they huddled by the kitchen table, files slapping down like indictments. Tomas's file, yellowed edges, ghosts exhumed. Your brother's dealings, 1 suit droned, linked to your CI work. We need your statement. Off book, Hunter's fists balled. Suspended. Remember, find another fall guy. The lead agent smirked, sliding a photo. Hunter, younger, arm around Tomas in a dive bar, both laughing, bottles raised. But the angle intimate, blurred lines. Or this goes viral. Reyes brothers, badges and bad blood, my blood iced. Luke's words, closets deeper than the Hudson. But this, blackmail, twisting brotherhood into scandal. I burst in, chair scraping. Get out. My voice shook, but steel-edged. He's done with your circus. They left, tails tucked, but the damage festered. Hunter slumped, head in hands. It's always this. The job owns you, even quit. Then let it go, I pleaded, kneeling, hands on his knees. We're building something real. His eyes lifted, tormented. Real? Or just another cover? The fight ignited then, words flying like shrapnel. You think I'm hiding? He roared, pacing, limp forgotten in fury. I marched for you, quit for you, and regretted every call. I shot back, tears hot. Choose. Hunter. Again. He froze, chest heaving. You. Always. But his phone buzzed, Captain again, and he silenced it, deliberate, tossing it into a drawer like burying a bomb. We made up in the wreckage. Apologies etched in skin, but trust frayed, threads pulling loose. Luke cornered me at work the next day. My studio in Dumbo, sketches of queer icons scattered like confetti. He's toxic. Alex, he said, perched on a stool, coffee steaming judgment. Dragging you into his blue code drama. Cut loose. He's family, I whispered, pencil snapping in my grip. Luke's laugh was bitter. Family? That's the trap. Tomas was his out, excuse to stay locked. Now you're the new chain. I didn't listen. Not then. Thanksgiving circled again. But we skipped Astoria, too raw, too soon. Instead, a quiet diner, turkey melts and pie that tasted of ash. Next year, Hunter promised, fork midway, we host. Make our own mess. Our mess sounded like home. Winter howled in, blizzards blanketing the burrows in white-out lies. Hunter landed steady work, bouncer at a queer club in Chelsea, the kind with go-go boys and thumping house that vibrated bones. Fits, he grinned, vest straining over pecs, my hand slipping inside during slow sets. Nights off, we'd hole up, fortressing against the cold. Mulled wine, Marvel marathons, his body my best blanket. But the ghosts persisted. Christmas Eve. Package arrived, no sender. Tomas's dog tags inside, tarnished and accusatory. Hunter's face crumpled, clutching them to his chest. Who? He rasped. But we knew, precinct grudge. The suits circling like vultures. I held him through the sobs. The man who'd faced down dealers and despair breaking in my arms. They want me small, he choked. Scared. Then be big, I murmured, kissing his knuckles. With me. New Year's dawned crisp. The ball drop a distant cheer. We watched from the roof, bundled against wind, his arm iron around me. Resolution, he said, breath fogging. No more shadows. I clinked my flask to his. Light it up. Spring teased early. Tulips pushing through concrete defiance. Pride planning consumed us, Hunter volunteering for the parade committee. Luke roping us into float builds at his garage. Jack's welding pipes into rainbow arches. Redemption arc achieved. Luke quipped, paint splattered, but his eyes held approval. Grudging. The March day broke golden. Avenues awash in glitter and grit. We walked hand in hand. Hunter's stride sure. No limp to betray. Chance rose. We're here. We're queer. Elena and Sophia flanked us. Jack's drumming a beat on a bucket. Luke ahead. Megaphone blaring bad puns. At Stonewall, the crowd surged. Bodies a tide of triumph. Hunter pulled me close, lips brushing my ear. Thank you, he breathed. For seeing me. Naked truth and all. I grinned, heart full. Wouldn't trade the view, but climax brewed. Not in joy, but the undercurrent. Post-parade. At the after-party in a loft on the Bowery, sweat-slick dancers. Bass like heartbeat, the suits crashed. Not in force, but Sly, the lead agent, nursing a beer, cornering Hunter by the bar. I saw from across the room, Luke's hand on my arm. Let him handle, but I couldn't. Wading through, I arrived to the agent's hiss. Resignation doesn't erase sins. Reyes. Sign. Or the tags go public, with your little boyfriend's name attached. Hunter's face thunder. Touch him, and I bury you. The agent laughed. Cold. Family sticks, right? Like Tomas. Fury blinded me. I lunged, fist connecting with jaw, the crack echoing over the thump. Chaos erupted. Bouncers, Hunter's colleagues, pulling us apart, Luke hauling me back, Elena dialing lawyers. In the alley after, sirens keening distant, Hunter cupped my bruised knuckles. You fought for me, always, but tears came, hot and unbidden. But this, it's poison. He nodded, slow, the weight settling. I know. Dawn crept, pink-fingered, as we walked home silent, synced. At the door, he turned. Maybe Wyoming. Space to heal. My heart stuttered. Together, together, the kiss sealed it, soft as promise. We didn't leave that week, or the next. Loose ends tangled, Hunter pressing charges, IA crumbling under scrutiny, Elena's legal eagles circling. Luke threw a fuck the feds rager, toasts to Tomas raising glasses high. Summer solstice found us packing, duffel stuffed with vinyl and vows. The road unspooled west, Appalachians folding into plains, Hunter's hand on my thigh as mile markers blurred. New start, he said, radio crooning Springsteen. Brooklyn faded rearview, but carried forward. The naked night, the choices, the love that bent but didn't break. Human, messy, ours. In a roadside diner off I-80, pie cooling between us, I sketched him scarred, smiling, whole. Forever changed, I murmured. He grinned, crooked as ever. Damn right, and in the heartland's hush, we believed it. The drive west was a baptism by blacktop, the kind of American Odyssey Dad would have romanticized over greasy spoon hash browns. Route 80 slicing through Rust Belt relics, billboards hawking Jesus and jerky like salvation on a stick. Hunter drove first shift, his old F-150 rumbling loyal, radio flipping between NPR podcasts on queer history and outlaw country that twanged of lost loves reclaimed. I'd sketch roadside vignettes, silos stabbing sky, pronghorn blurring past like ghosts of the plains, his profile etched in golden hour light, jaw set easy for the first time in months. Wyoming, he said around mile 1,200, near Toledo, voice laced with that Bronx gravel softened by awe. Sounds like a myth. Big sky. No bullshit. I squeezed his thigh, denim warm under palm. Our myth, but under the romance. Nerves jittered, leaving Luke's teary send-off at the Holland Tunnel. Elena's care package of flan recipes and brass knuckles. For the metaphors, she'd winked. Brooklyn's pulse echoed in my veins. What if the quiet broke us? We overnight in motels that smelled of Lysol and loneliness. Neon vacancy, buzzing like faulty hope, beds sagging under our weight as we mapped each other anew. Miss the city noise? He'd ask, fingers tracing my ribs, breath hot on collarbone. Sometimes, honesty, raw as the phoenix ink. But this you louder, Omaha hit at dawn, cornfields waving indifferent, and we detoured for pancakes at some ma and pa joint where the waitress called us fellas, with a wink that felt like welcome. Hunter's limp eased on flat ground, knee less vengeful, but shadows clung. A voicemail from the captain, slurred with scotch. Come back, Reyes. We need you. He deleted it mid-playback. Jaw tight. Old Skin, by Cheyenne. The Rockies loomed, teeth bared blue, and the air thinned, crisp as new starts. We found it on a whim, Jackson Hole. Not the glitzy tourist trap, but a cabin rental off the grid. Pine whispering conspiracies to the wind. This, Hunter breathed, unloading duffels onto warped porch boards, Tetons framing him like a postcard come alive. This is us. Unpacking was ritual. My vinyl crate thumping beside his boxing gloves, Dad's Coltrane sleeve yellowed but sacred. That night, fire crackling in the stone hearth, we christened the place, slow, exploratory, his body arching under mine as embers painted us bronze. "Love you," he gasped, hands pinning wrists, eyes locked fierce. No ghost, just us naked in every sense, vulnerabilities bared like offerings. Morning brought reality's bite, job hunts in a town where queer still raised brows at the feed store. Hunter landed guiding gigs, fly fishing for flatlanders, his cop instincts translating to reading rapids like perps. These yuppies. He'd laugh over trout almondine at the Silver Dollar, hook more flies than fish. I freelanced remote, designs pinging for indie presses back east. The cabin's Wi-Fi spotty as our cell service. Luke FaceTimed weekly, his Williamsburg chaos a window to what was. Jax dumped me for a sound tech, story of my life, but his grin sharpened seeing us. You two look domesticated. Gross, then softer. Proud of you, Alex. Building, not breaking. Betrayals echo faded. But conflict simmered domestic, Hunter's restlessness on rainy days, pacing the creaky floors like a caged wolf. My city itches, craving bagels and bodega cats when snow buried the drive. We're good, he'd insist, chopping wood with swings that splintered logs and tension. But one February blizzard, power out and pipes frozen, we hunkered by candlelight, whiskey warming bellies. Missed the fight, I ventured, shadows dancing on log walls. He paused, tumbler midway. The rush? Yeah. But not the chains. His eyes met mine, vulnerable. You regret. Never. The word anchored, but doubt whispered. Was this peace or purgatory? Spring thawed the drifts, wildflowers rioting in meadows like defiant rainbows. We hiked Granite Canyon, his hand steady in mine over roots and rocks, the silence companionable. At a overlook, eagles wheeling below, he dropped to one knee, not proposal, but purpose. Let's make it official, he said, pulling a ring from his pack, simple tungsten, etched with phoenix flames. Not for show. For us. Tears blurred the vista. Yes, the kiss sealed it, wind-whipped and wild, the mountains bearing witness. Word spread slow in Jackson. The ex-cop and the artist, hitched in a courthouse ceremony that June. Elena flying in with Sophia. Luke road-tripping with a cooler of IPAs. Vegas who? He toasted, as we exchanged vows under elk antler chandeliers. Hunter's voice steady. In chaos and calm, you're my beat. Honeymoon was the Snake River, raft slicing whitewater, our laughter echoing off canyon walls. But paradise cracked on the pull-out. A letter, forwarded from Brooklyn, ice-seal unbroken. Inside, reinstatement offer, full back pay. In light of new evidence, Tomas cleared, Hunter's name gold again. He stared at it over campfire that night, flames licking the paper's edge before he tossed it in, watching curl to ash. Tempting, he admitted, embers reflecting in eyes. Stability. Pension for whatever comes. I nodded, heart twisting. And us? Non-negotiable. But the seed took root, watered by practicality, cabin repairs, my freelance drying up in the recession's shadow. Fall gilded the aspens, leaves a fiery farewell. Luke visited, crashing for a week, his city energy clashing like cymbals. Fly fishing fails, barbecues where he grilled elk steaks to char. This place suits you, he conceded one dusk, nursing a s'more by the fire pit. Quiet fire, but alone later, he pulled me aside. The letter? Saw it in the trash. He's itching. Alex. He's ours, I said, defensive. Not theirs. Luke's hug was fierce. Fight for it. Like pride. Winter gripped hard. Snowdrifts sealing us in. Hunter's guiding slowed, and restlessness bloomed. Midnight runs on snowshoes, punching bags hung from rafters thumping like accusations. Just antsy, he'd say, collapsing beside me, sweat slick and spent. Then the call. Elena, voice trembling. Mom's sick. Cancer. Like Tomas. Stage 3. Aggressive. The word pancreatic a gut punch echo of Dad. We flew east. The cabin locked like a tomb. Astoria waited. Mom's apartment a shrine of saints and sorrows. She was frail but fierce. Chemo's toll carving hollows in cheeks that once pinched Hunters as a boy. Me amor, she whispered, clutching his hand. As finding me. You brought him home. Hospital vigils blurred. Beeping monitors. Coffee sludge. Luke flying in with Jax reconciled. The 5 of us a makeshift family in vinyl chairs. Hunter aged a decade. Shadows under eyes. But he held. Cooking eras con gandals in her kitchenette. Stories of Wyoming spun like lifelines. One night, as snow dusted the window, she pulled us close. Promise me, she rasped. No regrets. Love loud, like your brother did. Tomas's tags dangled from her neck. Talisman. We will, Hunter vowed. Tears carving tracks. She passed in March, cherry blossoms mocking the gray. The funeral was a blur, roses on pine. Eulogies in Spanglish sobs. Back at the cabin. Spring tentative. Hunter unraveled. Chopping wood till axes splintered. Runs turning to roars in the empty woods. It's too much, he confessed one dawn. Dawn's light slanting through blinds. The quiet amplifies it. I need structure. Purpose. My heart sank. The ring heavy on finger. Brooklyn, he nodded, wretched. The job. Lieutenant now. Clean slate, his eyes pleaded. Come with, we start fresh, your designs, my beat. Together, conflict tore me. The cabin's peace. Dad's ghost urging horizons. Luke's voice in head. Protect your heart. I can't, I whispered, voice breaking. Not back to the cage, his face fractured. Then what? I stay. Build here. You. Choose. Silence stretched. The fire's pop accusatory. I choose you, he said finally. But the words rang hollow. The pull of blue unbreakable. He left in May. F-150 loaded. Our kiss at the door tasting of goodbye. Visit, he begged. Every holiday. I will. Lie or lifeline. Couldn't tell. Summer alone was exile. Hikes hollow. Sketches of empty porches. Vinyl spinning solitary. Luke called daily. He's moping at the precinct. Says Wyoming's in his blood now. Fall brought the letter mine. From a gallery in Jackson. Solo show offer for queer westerns. I accepted. The Phoenix Rising solo. Winter's Eve. Snow falling soft. A knock splintered the quiet. Hunter. Duffel at feet. Uniform discarded forever. I quit again, he said. Snow melting in buzzed hair. For real. Mom's words. Your heart. Can't beat without it. Tears froze on cheeks as I pulled him in, the door clicking shut on what was. We rebuilt, slow, scarred, stronger. No badges, just us, guiding tours together, my art in local co-ops, his hands learning pottery at the community center, clay-fingered and free. Luke visited spring, toasting with IPAs on the porch. Knew you'd hook him back. Elena too, scattering Mom's ashes in the river. Sophia snapping pics of us knee-deep. Rings glinting. The climax wasn't the betrayal or the badge. It was this, choosing daily, human and humble. In the Teton's shadow, naked truths forged us unbreakable. Changed, forever. Love's long haul, American as apple pie and open roads. Years folded like accordions, each pleat a lesson in the lean-in of love. By our 5th anniversary, the cabin had evolved, no longer a retreat, but roots, solar panels glinting on the roof, a studio edition where my canvases dried amid turpentine tang, Hunter's fly-tying bench cluttered with feathers and folklore. We'd adopted a mutt from the res, half husky, as like his, named Tomas, who herded us on hikes with yips that echoed laughter. Life in Jackson wasn't utopia. It chafed with small-town stares at the farmer's market, whispers when we kissed over cider donuts. But we'd armored up, pride in the park events we co-chaired, turning elk antler arches into ally symbols. Luke guessed DJing from afar with sets that thumped till midnight. Your hillbilly havens got groove, he'd crow over satellite feed. Jack's beside him, their own domestic tangle thriving in Williamsburg's whirl. Hunter's purpose bloomed organic. Not badges, but bridges. He mentored at-risk kids from the res, fly fishing clinics where hooks caught dreams, stories of Bronx streets traded for Shoshone lore. These boys, he'd say, wiping mud from Tomas's paws after a day on the river. They're me at 12. Hungry for more than scraps. His limp, a badge now. Knee replaced with titanium grit. Swings smoother on the makeshift ring out back. I flourish too. Galleries in Bozeman and Salt Lake snapping up my series. Frontier flames. Queer cowboys etched in acrylic. Phoenixes rising from sagebrush badlands. Dad would have beamed. His Ohio pragmatism proud of the checks that paid the mortgage. You're making it, kid, Hunter'd murmur, framing a sold notice on the fridge, his pride warmer than any spotlight. But conflict never quits, it shapeshifts. The call came midsummer, heat wave baking the valley, mosquitoes droning dirges. Elena, voice-edged panic. Hunter? It's the feds. Tomas's file reopened. Cartel ties, they say. Want him for questioning. My gut nodded, paintbrush clattering. Impossible. He was Army, clean. They're dredging, she hissed. For leverage. Your old IA suits? Promoted. Sniffing old wounds. He took it stoic. Packing a go-bag that night. Tomas whining at his boots. Just statements, he assured, kissing me fierce in the kitchen lamplight. Back by week's end. Love you. The door shut, and silence roared. paced, calling Luke. They're coming for him again. Fuckers, he growled. Background clatter of his bar. Fly out. Be his shield. I did. Red eye to JFK. The cabin locked like a vault. Astoria waited. Mom's crucifix still on the wall. Elena's apartment a war room of legal pads and takeout boxes. Hunter arrived hollow-eyed. The Fed's sterile office in Lower Manhattan grinding him down. Endless loops of, did Tomas ever mention shipments? Was he running product stateside? Nights, we'd collapse in her guest bed. His body curling into mine like question marks. They paint him dirty, he whispered, breath ragged. My brother. Our hero. I held him, fingers combing buzzed hair. We'll clear it. Together. Luke crashed the interrogations, unofficial, but his charm a crowbar. Schmoozing agents with tales of bar fights and bad tattoos, digging dirt via bartender networks. One suit's got a coke habit, he texted. Leverage gold. Elena's lawyers pounced. FOIAs flying like subpoenas. Climax crested in a federal hearing room. Fluorescent hell. Hunter on the stand. Voice steady as granite. Tomas Reyes was a soldier, not a mule. AD took him, not ink. Evidence mounted, Luke's tip leading to the agent's trash. Baggies bobbing in the Hudson. Elena's cross-exam shredding cartel links to smoke. The judge banged gavel. Dismissed. With prejudice. Cheers erupted. Sophia popping Prosecco in the hall. Luke bear-hugging Hunter till ribs creaked. To the Reyes Redemption remix, he toasted, spilling foam on suits. But victory soured on the flight west. Hunter staring out at cloud canyons. Jaw tight. It's never over, he muttered. The system's a hydra. Cut one head, then we burn the garden. I finished, hand on knee. No more running. Home greeted with Tomas's frenzy. The cabin's porch swing creaking welcome. We didn't unpack ghosts. We exorcised. A bonfire that solstice. Tomas's tags melted into a pendant, hung between our chains. For the brother we knew, Hunter said. Flames leaping. Fall wove tapestries of gold. Aspen quaking in wind. Luke and Jax visited. Road tripping with a U-Haul of city cast-offs. Vinyl halls. Drag trunk for impromptu shows on the lawn. Wyoming's got potential. Luke conceded. Glitter-streaked. As we danced under harvest moon. Hunter's laugh booming free. Winter's hush brought quiet miracles. My show in Denver. Hunter beside. Whispering critiques that sharpen strokes. His clinics expanded, a non-profit. Reyes Rivers. Grants flowing for res youth. Purpose, he'd say. Tying flies by lamplight. Tastes better than power. Betrayal scar faded to silver. A reminder etched. Love demands vigilance. Not valor alone. Spring bloomed defiant. Tulips nodding to Tomas's pendant glinting on Hunter's chest. One dawn. River mist rising like incense. He proposed redux, not ring, but vow renewal under the Tetons. Elena officiating via Zoom. Luke piping in bad karaoke hymns. In naked truths, he recited. Eyes locked. We found forever. Changed everything. I echoed. Sealing with salt lip kiss. Humanity's arc bent gentle here. Not grand gestures, but daily devotions, coffee brewed black. Hikes hand in hand. The mutt's tail thumping rhythm to our nights. American Odyssey. Queered and claimed. From Brooklyn's blaze to Mountain Mercy. Two men mending the map. Luke nailed it in a card. Postmark Williamsburg, you built the boom. Don't forget the banshee who screamed you into it. We didn't. In the cabin's glow, vinyl spinning Coltrane's Blue Benediction, we held our own hook, alive, entwined, eternal.